Hello guys! First of all, surprise! We haven't seen each other in such a long time, and as you can see, I have gone through a bit of a change. I very recently, actually this is like maybe 4 days old or 5 days old, this little haircut. But anyway, so yeah, I just wanted to kind of give you that intro before we get into the video so that you wouldn't be, you know, so that you could adjust yourself to this new look and so that you could see my polished face before we get into the whole shebang, everything that has been happening. But yeah, I wanted to do this intro part so that you could kind of prepare yourselves for what is coming. As I sat down to do this video, I didn't really have a concrete plan. I didn't have anything prepared in my head. I just knew that I had to talk about what has been going on, and it kind of came out in a very organic but at the same time very confusing manner. I'm just talking about everything as it kind of comes to me, and so it's probably not the easiest and the most flowy thing to watch, but it's very real, it's very authentic, and it's very vulnerable, I suppose, for me at least. Taking baby steps to be more vulnerable and to be more open. Yeah, that's what you are getting into. As you probably saw from the timestamp, if you even decided to watch it in the first place, if you weren't scared off by the length of this video, you probably saw that it is a very, very, very long video. I had a lot to talk about, and also because I was rambling quite a lot, because again, this is not a very well structured video. This is a free-flowing speech that you're hearing. So yeah, it's just kind of coming out as it is. So yeah, just get yourself prepared, get something to eat, get something to drink, get comfy, and let's get straight into it. Oh my goodness, it feels so strange being back here and doing this kind of video. I haven't been in front of a camera in such a long time. Even when I do videos for my other channel, the Unbound Soul Tarot, I always film like the desk and the cards, and then like, yeah, you can see my hands, but I don't really like film my face at all. So yeah, it's so strange. But yeah, I just really felt like I actually wanted to do this video. I don't know, I've had this idea in my head for at least, I want to say a month, like at least. I knew that I had to make this video. I knew that I had to be more authentic, be more honest, and just more transparent, I guess. But when the idea came to me, I still wasn't in a very good spot. So I just couldn't really bring myself to do it. And then I just kind of, when I got back into the rhythm that I could actually start filming again, because I took a wee break from my other channel as well, because it just couldn't film. When I finally got back on track, then I got so busy with the other videos that I just didn't have the time. So yeah, that's why this thing has been a long time coming, but yeah, here we are now. Anyway, so going back to, like, I think we should probably go back to the last video that I posted on this channel. That was like, I think before Christmas last year. I did this Christmas look. And like in my head, by that point, when I was doing that video, I kind of thought to myself like, okay, this is going to be the last video that I do for this channel. And even though like, I think a part of me knew that it wasn't going to be the last video, you know, that I was probably still going to post something sometime, but I just kind of felt like I just didn't have it in me to kind of keep doing 2 channels. And I don't know, I was so immersed in my other channel, in my tarot channel, and I really wanted to kind of get it going. I really wanted to have a chance. So I kind of I made up this whole plan, this whole schedule, and I started like, I just kind of put the pedal to the metal, and I just thought I'm gonna give it my all. And I really like pushed myself to stick to my schedule, which was basically to release 12 videos each week, because we have 12 zodiac signs. So that was my plan. And I actually managed that. I actually managed doing that for like at least a couple of months, I believe. About a couple of months, yeah, I think. So, and it was like, it was so much work, because the thing is, you have to film the videos, right? Like, and it's not just filming, it's the whole like getting everything ready, getting it all set up and all that. So that's one of the reasons probably why I also kind of felt like I didn't want to, okay, it's not that I didn't want to, but I just, like, I wasn't I wasn't too enthusiastic about like still doing makeup videos alongside the tarot videos, because as I said, the camera setup is completely different. That's the one thing. So I have to kind of change my whole camera setup, but also I have to kind of rearrange my whole desk, because usually I just kind of have my cards on my desk, and I have my like crystals, and I have my little crystal ball, and I have my like feathers and all these kind of like these things that have a meaning to me. I have the set system basically, and I kind of like to keep it that way, so I wouldn't have to waste too much time every time I start filming to kind of set it up again. So basically a part of it was just laziness, that I wanted to keep my tarot set up because it was just much more convenient that way. But anyway, why am I talking? Okay, I don't know why I got into all of that. It's probably, you don't probably even care, but yeah, anyway, so I, in my head, thought that I was going to give it my all for this, for my tarot channel, and that I'm just going to kind of like call it quits with this one. Well, as you can see, I didn't call it quits, but I just kind of, I just didn't feel like uploading anything for a very long time. As I was kind of fully immersed in my other channel, trying to get it to, you know, take off. I think it was in January when I just got like, there was this like, almost this like click, and it was almost instantaneous, where I just fell into like the deepest, darkest depression of my entire life. It was like the biggest slump that I have ever been in. And like, oh my God, I don't even know how to begin with that, like begin describing what it was like and how everything was during that time. So January and February, like these 2 months were the most difficult ones that I have probably ever had, just because, as I said, like I've never experienced that kind of a slump in my life before. Like it got really, really, really bad. There was this, it's really difficult to talk about it, because like there is this part of me that knows that I should be more open. I know that I have this feeling that I have to kind of open up more and show my kind of my authentic side more, rather than just this like fully polished and all made up and like hair, makeup, all of that thing, and doing all these like poses on Instagram and doing all these like beauty YouTube videos and stuff like that. I have this like very one-sided image, and I'm aware of that. And I know that it has been somewhat intentional, but at the same time, I also realized during that whole like depressive time that it's not the image that I want to have. Like, I don't want people to look at me and think like, oh, you know, she has perfect skin and she has perfect hair and she has perfect lips, and like I don't even know, like all of these out of this world compliments that I got when I was reading, like, you know, comments on my videos, comments on my Instagram posts and stuff like that. And when you read that kind of thing, you realize that, oh my God, people, like, I'm part of the problem, you know? When you are in that kind of dark place, like places like Instagram, even like Facebook, other YouTube channels that have these like seemingly very happy, very put together, very much on top of their shit and just seemingly perfect people, when you see that kind of thing day in and day out, it just like, it can have such a negative effect and just take you into even bigger slumps than you were before, you know? And so I kind of realized that like someone is probably in the same position as me. Someone is probably feeling like their whole life has just like collapsed and crumbled down around them, and they are completely lost and just standing in the middle of the rubble and not really knowing how to go forward, because there's just nothing left in them to push them forward. And they look at me and think like, oh my God, like she has it all, or she has it all figured out. And I just realized that, oh my God, like no one, like probably no one has any idea how bad it actually is for me right now. And at the same time, I also felt kind of silly, kind of ridiculous, because I know that depression and anxiety and like all these different like mental health issues have, like, I know that there are so many people around the world who suffer from those. There are so many people who have things way worse than I do. And I just felt kind of almost like silly kind of talking about my stuff, because as soon as I like got this idea that, okay, I need to open up, I need to talk about what is going on and kind of let you guys in on what has been happening behind the scenes, like just being like really honest with you guys. At the same time, there was this other voice in my head that was like, no one is going to care. Like, why should anyone care? Because everyone has their own shit that they're dealing with. Everyone has their own issues, their own problems. This whole like, oh, I'm suffering from depression thing is like so old. Everyone, like, there are so many people who are dealing with that. There are so many people who are struggling with that, that I just felt like, I don't know, I don't even know how to explain it, but it just felt so silly to me. And so I was kind of going through this like internal battle with myself, thinking like, well, I was kind of going back and forth, thinking like, oh, I really want to make this video. I really want to talk about it, you know, and kind of let people know that it's okay to not have your shit together, because I'm pretty sure that that's what everyone is actually going through at one point or another. But some people are just really, really good at hiding it. And so, yeah, I don't know. I just felt like I really wanted to get it off my chest. I really wanted to kind of put the record straight, I suppose, because I just felt like the biggest hypocrite. And even though, like, I know that the people, like, I know that you guys and all the other people who were commenting on these, like, on my YouTube videos and just leaving me these really, really nice comments. And when I read them, I know that it's meant to like kind of make me, you know, feel better, that they're doing it from like a point of, I don't know, admiration, or that they, I don't know, they're expressing something good, right? They are expressing a positive emotion. And I know that, but it was kind of having the opposite effect on me, because as I said, I felt like the biggest hypocrite in the world as I was like laying down in my bed, almost like battling with myself to force myself to take a shower. I was like a complete mess, both like outside and inside. And when I was reading those comments, I just felt like, oh my goodness, if they could only see me right now, like they would not be saying that, you know? And yeah, I don't know, it's really difficult to explain, but I'm sure that if you are watching this video right now and if you have gone through depression yourself, then you probably know exactly what I'm talking about, and these like really weird moods that you can get into. It's still not dark enough. Okay, let me finish up my eyes, or like not finish them up, but just kind of get them to a point where I want them to be, and then I can move on to the face, and then I can talk some more, because right now I feel like I'm just going to be stuck here and we're not going to be able to get this video anywhere. Okay, so I suppose the eyes, I want to kind of keep them like somewhere like this. I mean, I'm not going anywhere anyway, so in truth, does it really matter what I'm going to look like at the end of it? Probably not, but the perfectionist Virgo in me still tries to make everything look as presentable as possible, even if I know that I'm kind of doing it all in vain. Going back to January and February, those 2 awful, awful months. Like, even when I think back on those, they feel like, I just kind of feel like I get this shiver in my spine because of how crappy I was feeling. I can still like remember the feeling slightly. Thankfully not too well anymore, because as I said, I kind of got back on track sometime in March, and I am doing a lot better now. But yeah, so during those 2 months, basically what happened was that I withdrew completely from like almost everyone that I know. I just completely like drew back my energy from everything and everyone. There were so many days during that time when I literally, like, I just thought of like the tiniest chores felt like the biggest challenges in the world. Like when I had to think about taking a shower, putting my clothes on, or like having to make myself something to eat, those kinds of things felt like the most like energy consuming, the most tiring things in the world. Like I couldn't deal with those things. And I constantly, like, I had to push myself every single day to be able to like function at all. And I didn't really like want to talk to anyone. I didn't want to see anyone. The only thing really that made me like tolerate, or just kind of like that made me tolerate existing, or that made me feel, I can't say good, because I couldn't, like, during those 2 months, happiness was not in my dictionary. Like I couldn't even remember the last time that I was happy, like what that felt like. I couldn't remember. It felt like just ages ago. There were two basic emotions that I was feeling during that time. One was like pain, sadness, pain and sadness, or complete apathy. Like either I couldn't feel anything at all, I just couldn't care about anything. Like literally I was walking down the street and I just thought to myself, you know, if a car hit me right now, or if like something very heavy landed on my head and I were to drop dead right now, I would be very okay with that. Like it was literally, I literally felt like that. It feels scary to say it out loud, you know, it really does. But that's the truth of it. And I feel like truly the only people who knew what I was really going through were my sister and my best friend. Like they were the only ones who I actually told about these thoughts that were in my head, and these like dreams that I had, and everything that I was going through. So yeah, basically there was this, as I started my sentence and then I got drifted away, as you guys know, that's how I tell my stories. So the first was apathy, not caring about anything. And the second was sadness. So when I wasn't in the state of like just feeling so completely bored and so completely sick of everything and everyone, then I just felt this like this indescribable like sadness and heaviness, and yeah, like heaviness on my chest and on my heart. Like I was just so sad all of the time without really having a reason for it. And because I didn't have a reason for it, because I couldn't explain it, because I couldn't even make sense of it myself, I didn't have any answers for my family, you know, for my family who were really, like, I could see how worried they were about me. Like I could see, and I saw that they really wanted to help, but they didn't know how to, because they didn't understand what was going on, because I wasn't, like, I couldn't tell them. And again, if you have ever gone through depression, or worse, if you have ever had like suicidal thoughts or something like that, then you probably know like those kinds of things, like you don't want to tell your closest people, because first of all, you don't want to burden them. That is one of the main things that was in my head all the time. Like, I don't want to burden my close people. I don't want to burden other people, because I know that, as I said, I know that everyone is going through their own stuff. Everyone has their own problems, their own worries. And the second thing is that you don't want your family to worry. You don't want to cause them pain, because you know that those kinds of things would probably hurt them. You know, if they knew what was going on in my head, it would probably hurt them a lot. So I didn't tell them. I just decided to kind of keep it to myself and deal with everything myself, because that's kind of how it has been my whole life. Like, I have always been more of a melancholy person, even though I kind of learned very early on to hide it very well. So I have these two modes that are like most prevalent for me. I can be like the most extroverted, making jokes, saying witty remarks or witty things, having a talk with everyone, making conversation with everyone, keeping up the spirits and the, you know, like doing all of that kind of stuff. Like I can very easily do that. But then on this other side, or there's this other aspect of me, is like the complete opposite, where I don't really want to connect with anyone. I don't really want to let anyone in. I am very reserved. I love my alone time, and my private space is really, really important to me. Yeah, I don't really want to share too much of my life with anyone, and even like people who are close to me, like there are a lot of things that I don't share with them, because as I said, I like my privacy, and I need to have a lot of alone time, a lot of time and a lot of space to kind of be with my own thoughts and to kind of ground myself. So I love going to the woods. I love going to nature. Yeah, I was supposed to talk about that earlier. I don't even know whether I actually got to that point, because that was one of the main things that I did during that time that really helped me. I just had to get out of the house and go to this like special place, this special foresty place that I found near my home. And that really, really helped me. I would like listen to music. I would go there, sometimes just like walking, crying, just like going there and sitting with trees, sitting with just like nature and just being by myself. Like that helped a lot. Like truly, it did so much. And that was like kind of the only place where I felt good, was when I was in the forest, when I was in the woods. That was the only time when I felt good. So I felt like I had to go there every single day. So the positive thing was that I got quite a workout, because yeah, like going there and coming back was like a 10 kilometer or I don't know, 7 mile, I don't know exactly how many miles it is, but it was quite a distance. Not like a very long distance, but you know what I mean. But yeah, that was the place where I felt good. So I have always had to have my alone time. I need to get away from people. I need to not be surrounded by other people's energy. It is really important for me to have that time. It's not because I don't like other people, but it's just that it's like other people's energy can get very overwhelming for me. And I suppose like it's something that I kind of recently figured out as well. I suppose it has always been that way, but when I was younger, I didn't realize that that's what it was, that's why I like had these weird urges to like just walk off and walk away from like parties and gatherings and stuff like that. I literally used to do this thing, especially when I was in high school. There were always times when I just thought to myself like, okay, I need to go and walk outside, and I would just leave. And sometimes I wouldn't even tell anyone, and I knew that, like, again, like, people worried about me and stuff like that, and I don't know, I just I didn't really know how to explain it to them, because I knew that people thought it was weird. I knew that. Like, I knew that if I tried to explain it to them, they would still think it was weird. So I was just like, why bother, you know? So I didn't know when I was younger that that was why I needed to leave. Because I was sensitive to other people's energy, and I would get really overwhelmed. So I had to kind of, again, go outside, look at the stars, listen to my music, just like kind of just be by myself. And so, yeah, that has always been a thing. But I just kind of recently realized that it is because of how sensitive I am to others' energies. And again, that kind of became more evident to me when I started putting more energy and putting more of my time into my tarot channel, because that's when I realized that, okay, I have these like intuitive abilities where I can feel, like physically feel other people's energy, and when I can like tap into other people's energy and kind of sense what they are feeling or what they are going through. And like like those kinds of things that I have developed now doing these tarot readings and getting more into like spirituality and stuff like that, that really kind of started making a lot more sense to me, and my whole like childhood and growing up and all of that has made like a lot more sense to me. But yeah, so basically just backtracking a bit, ever since I was younger, ever since I was a child, I have always been more isolated, but more by myself. Like, there is actually this one picture from from I think kindergarten or something like that, or preschool or whatever it is, where I'm actually just sitting alone in a corner. Everyone's probably like playing and stuff like that, and you know, and again, I did enjoy playing with other children as well, but it was only like during some times, you know, because most of the time, or at other times, I really liked just like going in the corner, playing by myself, just doing my own thing. And I've always kind of been that way. I always prefer reading a book, watching a movie, watching a TV show. Now I have my cards and stuff like that, so I like to, you know, do like different readings and different like rituals and stuff like that as well. But before that, I've just always had like my things that I like to do, and I never get bored when I'm by myself. I just never do. So yeah, I'm kind of more like in that group than like wanting to hang out with people all the time, or wanting to go out and do stuff all the time, and like that's not really me. Anyway, as the point of it is that I have always been more melancholy anyway, or more like kind of isolated and withdrawn anyway, because I'm okay with that. That is kind of where I feel the safest. That is my comfort zone. But at the same time, I guess I have always had more of a like depressive streak as well. But again, when I was younger, when I was a child, I didn't know that that's what it was. I did actually get a diagnosis when I was in high school. I actually got diagnosed with mild depression. But I remember that during that time, when I told my parents about it, like when I actually told them that, you know, that's what I was diagnosed with, they didn't really like take it in the best way. When I was in high school, so that was like 2010, 2011, around that time, depression wasn't as talked about as it is now. And I mean, I know that even then, like everyone knew about it, and it was a thing, like everyone knew. But I guess like right now we have come to this space, especially with the whole like pandemic and everything, and with like mental health being like such an important thing. I feel like now people are way more open about it, you know, and people probably like understand it a lot more than they did before. So anyway, my parents didn't really like understand it, or they didn't really want to like accept it, and they were basically just telling me like, no, the doctor's wrong, like there's nothing wrong with you, you are fine. And then I just kind of brushed it off, and I thought like, okay, you know, yeah, maybe they're right, maybe I am overthinking all of these things, and maybe it is all in my head and blah blah blah. So I kind of like brushed it off. But looking back now, I kind of realized that all of those times, because I've always had like these low points, they kind of come and go. I now realize that it was still depression, and yes, it's probably more of a mild depression, especially having like read about other people's stories and other people's experiences and all of that, but it's still depression. And now that I like realize that that's always kind of been a thing for me, now that I actually can like say it out loud and accept it for what it is, it just kind of makes it easier, you know? So yeah, this is not like a new thing for me by any means, but like these 2 months, these January and February, like these 2 months were just the most drastic ones, I suppose. I saw this interview with Jim Carrey. He said this one sentence. He said something like that depression means, basically it's your body's way of saying that I don't want to live this life anymore that you have created for me. Like, I don't want to play this persona or this character that I have created. I don't want to be that person anymore. And that kind of really stuck out to me. It just spoke to my soul in a way. It just felt exactly what I was feeling. Like, I didn't want to be this version of me, because I knew that it wasn't me in a way. I mean, it was and it wasn't. I know that it's super confusing. But I almost like I couldn't resonate with my life anymore. Like, none of it made sense to me. Like, all of my friends, everything that I had been doing, all of these different jobs that I have tried, like everything, I just like, none of it made sense to me anymore. None of it. And so how are you meant to function? How are you meant to live life if you don't feel like yourself? If you can't make sense of who you are? And I really couldn't make sense of who I was. So as I said, I just withdrew from everyone. Like, I haven't really spoken to like any of my old friends. I just recently kind of reconnected with my, like, one of my best friends from university, Claudia. Some of you guys may remember her. With the whole like the pandemic and everything, you know, with everything going on, we hadn't really been keeping in touch. And so we recently reconnected, which is amazing. But other than that, I truly, like, I feel like I have just drifted away from everyone on such a major level, because again, I couldn't resonate with my life anymore. I couldn't resonate with it. So yeah, I just really needed some alone time and to kind of go through my own things and my own processes, and just kind of take time out for myself to figure out what kind of life do I really want for myself, who do I really want to be, or who I really am, like at my most authentic core. And yeah, and how I could like kind of go about achieving that. So that's also one of the reasons why I kind of almost disappeared, or I just like kind of took myself off the map completely. Like, I didn't really go to social media at all, because again, first of all, I just felt like doing my makeup and just posting like these nice pictures, it just felt the most ridiculous thing to me. So I just didn't want to do it. But at the same time, I also didn't want to see all of these other people, all of my like friends and acquaintances, like doing amazing things and moving forward with their lives and getting new jobs, building houses, having kids, getting married, all of those things. I just really didn't want to see that, because I was in such a bad place as it was. And I just felt like those things were such huge triggers for me. Like, I literally, during those darkest times, I couldn't really like even go out anywhere where I would meet or where I would run into any of my like acquaintances or friends. I didn't really want to see any of my old friends or my acquaintances, because the thought of like running into someone like that and like having to talk about my life and having to explain or having to kind of hide how not together my life was, it was like the most terrifying thing that I could think of. I just like, it's the strangest thing how our minds work at these moments. Like, you like your mind can really start making up the most horrible, the most ridiculous horror stories. Like I was literally imagining in my head how if I were to see any of my my old friends or any of my old schoolmates or something like that, and I just imagined like having to tell them what a shit show my life is. And I just thought like, oh my God, how embarrassing that would be, how everyone would kind of think like, oh, you know, that's too bad, and look what happened to her, and look how unfortunately her life turned out. And like I just in my head, like everyone was judging me, everyone was like pointing at me saying, you know, oh, like I don't know, I know it's ridiculous when I'm saying it out loud, I know it is ridiculous, but that's literally what I was thinking in my head, that if anyone were to know how bad things were for me, that they would literally just like judge me for it. And even though now that I like say these things out loud, I do realize how silly they are actually. Because again, like most of the times, like especially when you are going through depression, what you don't really realize is that like everyone is probably struggling way more than they are letting on. We all kind of do it. We all kind of put up this facade, this mask that we like to wear to make it look like we're all fine, when the truth is that we may be going through a whole shitstorm, right? So most likely everyone is kind of so busy with their own stuff that no one really, at least if they are a good person, that no one really like puts their energy into judging you for everything that you are quote unquote doing wrong, or everything that is like going badly for you, you know. But at the same time, like your mind doesn't work in a rational way when you are going through a kind of a depressive streak. So I don't know, it's just I got these really, really weird thoughts in my head, and so I was just avoiding everyone like they were the plague. And I really, really didn't want to see anyone, and I really didn't want to explain my life to anyone. I didn't want to get the questions of like, so how are you doing, and how's work, and how's like this and that, and blah 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 blah. I didn't want to have to deal with that. So yeah, so I just avoided people. Oh my goodness, this is going to be the longest video on planet Earth. And I've only just like, okay, I need to kind of speed this up. I feel like I need to speed this up. So, by the way, I don't know if you can see, but like I have started doing my makeup a bit differently. I don't really want to like wear too much foundation, and I kind of let my skin seep through a lot more. So I've been doing a lot more like natural makeup, I suppose. But I can't really say what I've been doing recently because I haven't worn makeup pretty much at all for the past couple of months, on very rare occasions. So yeah, I don't really do my makeup anymore. But yeah, so basically the whole point of actually what this whole thing that I'm talking about is that I want to kind of, first of all, I want to tell you what I've been going through, because in case anyone else is feeling that, in case anyone else is like going through this internal battle, but like they don't really want to, or they can't really talk about it openly. So if anyone is like suffering alone, or if anyone is like feeling like, you know, that they are the only, like they are this big, huge failure, and everyone else is like doing so amazingly and so perfectly and so successfully in their lives, then I just want to kind of like tell you, especially if you're one of those people who have been leaving me comments about like how perfect I am and all of those things, then this video is for you. This is to let you know that I don't have my life together, and I am absolutely miserable at times, and I do battle with probably the same things that other people battle with. So, you know, no one is really immune to that. Whatever is going on in their life, whatever their social status, whatever their bank account, whatever their cultural background, none of that really matters. No one is immune to depression, or like feeling like a failure, or feeling like a misfit, you know? No one is really immune to that. So yeah, I just wanted to make this video for those people who may be suffering in silence, who may be going through the same thing, but having no one to talk about it with, or something like that. So one part of the reason why I'm making this video is to kind of help those, or to reassure, encourage those who are going through the same thing, hopefully to make them feel less alone. But at the same time, I also want to like kind of tell you guys what helped me. I already told you that being in nature and really grounding myself really helped a lot. But another thing that also really helped was like writing. I started writing poetry. It worked like magic. It literally worked instantly. Like there were these nights when I couldn't sleep because I just felt so shitty. I couldn't sleep because as soon as I tried to like close my eyes and fall asleep, my mind started going to all of these really awful places, or I would start getting these flashbacks from my past and all of these memories would resurface. Of course, most of the time they would be about times when I actually was happy, when I actually did have fun, when I enjoyed my life, and it just made me feel even more awful about how I was feeling in that moment. So I just started writing down everything that kind of came to me. And yeah, that really, really helped. So if you are like struggling right now, if you're going through these things, then I do like truly, truly, truly recommend writing. And also I read this amazing book, which like literally it just made me cry. I mean, everything made me cry during that time. Like I would literally cry about every single thing, like the tiniest things. But this one book, I think the author is Matt Haig. I will put it on the screen for you guys as well. But the book, Reasons to Stay Alive, it just helped in ways that I cannot probably even say. Because like reading about other people's experiences, it really, really helps. Because first of all, again, it makes you feel that you are not alone, that there are people who are going through the same things or going through worse things than you are. But just like the way that he writes, there was just something so relatable, something so vulnerable about it, that he was so honest about his experience. And this one thing, this one part in the book where he actually lists like other people's quotes. Oh my God, it made me bawl. It just made me bawl like a baby. I couldn't. It was the saddest thing that I had ever read. So he would like list or write these things that people had said, or people had, I think they were tweets, that people had shared about their own experiences. I think it was on Twitter. Did I? I just said tweets. So yeah. Anyway, I think that those were tweets from people who were sharing their own experiences and how they got through depression and what made them keep going. And like there were these, like some of these tweets, they just went straight to my soul, and I just felt them so deeply, and I would just cry and cry and cry, and I was like, oh my God. And like those kinds of things were probably the things that helped me the most. Like those kinds of little keywords or sentences or phrases that really spoke to me on such a deep level. And even though they made me cry, it almost felt purging. It felt like I was going through this detox when I could finally get something really, really heavy and really like deeply buried out onto the surface, out of me, like physically get it out of my system. And it really, really did help so much. I'm very thankful to the author, and I'm really thankful to all of these people that decided to share their experiences or share their tweets, share their thoughts, because it is absolutely invaluable during times like this, you know, or times like that, I should say. It was a very strange period that I went through, but at the same time, again, I feel like it helped me like realize a lot of things about myself. It made me more confident, it made me more bold, I suppose, because probably even like 2-3 months before I got into that slump, if someone would have, you know, told me that you should make a video telling people about like how you truly feel on the inside, I would have probably thought that it was the craziest idea, because that kind of thing, like being vulnerable, is one of the scariest things to me. I have always admired people who have had the courage to kind of be who they are and just like unapologetically stay true to them, like stay true to who they are. The thing with myself is that I kind of prefer to kind of stay on the sidelines most of the times, I suppose. Like I don't really, like again, as I said, I have these two modes, right? So there are times when I can really enjoy being center stage, when I can really enjoy having the spotlight on me and having people listen to me. And I can, like, there are times when I do enjoy being in the focal point, I suppose. But most of the time, I prefer being this like wallflower almost. I wish that almost like people didn't notice me or that people didn't acknowledge me at all. Like there are so many times in my life where I have felt like I just wish I was invisible, you know. I don't really want to take up space. I don't want to, like, I don't want to have a presence. It's the strangest thing. I swear to God, it's the strangest thing that I know that it may sound so weird, but it's also like, probably it's also one of the reasons why I have never felt comfortable with like social media, and why I have always felt that I can't really do that very well. I'm not really good at it, and it doesn't come naturally to me, because like social media that's like putting yourself at the center stage and having everyone kind of have their eyes on you and giving everyone the ability to offer their opinions about yourself and all of that. And I mean, even I know that like YouTube is the same thing. It's like, it's still social media. It's still like putting yourself out there, but at the same time, it's kind of like different in a way. It's kind of scary for me. So I have to kind of put myself out of my comfort zone to do that. And the only reason why like this whole makeup thing has kind of like why I've been doing it for such a long time is because at one point I just got used to it and it wasn't really that scary anymore, but it doesn't come naturally to me. And the thing is, like, I sometimes I get so annoyed with myself because I wish I had more of a set or a very strong persona, you know, who is like I look at these people who are just like, even if they are controversial, even if they are someone who like annoys a lot of people, or who gets on other people's nerves, like I admire that, because, you know, you can't please everyone, but there is this like, I kind of want to, I have this like innate desire to like not push anyone's buttons, or to, I try to be as like polite and as friendly as I possibly can be, unless like someone is flat out coming out to me and saying something nasty to me, or like if someone is acting like a prick to me, then I will most likely do the same, or I will not like turn the other cheek and like kind of let them walk all over me. But at the same time, that's kind of like an extreme case. Most of the time, I prefer kind of staying in a more neutral territory, or in a more like friendly territory. So I kind of feel like I've always been more of this wallflower, and that's where I feel the most comfortable. Because again, I've always felt more like a misfit, and just like I don't really belong here. I've always had to kind of put more work into like being part of the group and kind of functioning like a normal person. During the deepest part of the depression, I actually felt like this has to be a mistake. Like I couldn't actually believe that I had decided that I wanted to be born, that I had decided that I wanted to have this life. I just I couldn't, like, I don't know, it didn't make sense to me. I was like, why would I possibly want to come here? Like, I truly feel like a foreigner, very often. So yeah, and the reason why I'm saying that again is that if any of you watching feels the same way, if you can relate, then at least you know that you're not alone. You know that you're not alone. The last thing that I would say that really helped me during my depressive streak was talking. And I know that, and it's such a difficult thing to force yourself to do if you are in that space. It's really difficult to force yourself to open up to someone. If you can find a person, or if you have someone who you truly trust, talking to them about what is going on with you is like, it is so liberating. It truly, truly is. Even having someone who would just listen to you. A lot of the times, you don't necessarily even want anyone to like give you advice or try and like solve your problems, because a lot of the times when you are in a depression or in a depressive state, you don't even really know what your problems are. You don't know why you feel the way you do, but it is like, it's not something that is just happening in your head that you can kind of wish it away, or that you can kind of drown out with like positive thoughts or something like that. Because that's one of the things, I suppose, that irritated me most, and that has always kind of got on my nerves when I see someone who doesn't understand what depression is. When someone like says, oh, you know, just be positive, just, you know, like you're being in your head, don't overthink things. It's the stupidest thing to say. It is the dumbest thing to say, because depression is not just in your head. It's an all-consuming thing. Like, your body stops functioning. It's not just that your mind is going nuts or going like, I don't know, imploding. It's not just like that. It's that your whole body starts acting up, and you can't really control anything. Your emotions, how you physically feel, how much energy you have to move around or to do things, like actually get shit done. Like, it's all encompassing. And that's one of the main things that I got so annoyed with. But again, at the same time, I do realize that it's coming from a place of ignorance, because those people who say those kinds of things, they just don't know. And you can't really be mad at someone for not knowing. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, talk, like, it really, really helps. So if you have someone that you truly trust, just letting them know, just saying whatever is in your head, saying the thoughts that come up for you, as stupid, as ridiculous, as silly, as embarrassing as they may be for you. Find someone who you know is not going to be judgmental, who you know is going to be there for you to just listen to you, and just let it all out. Because I promise it is so liberating, and it helps. It really, really, truly helps. I know that there are probably more of those like helplines and stuff like that, probably in the US and like in other bigger countries like that. I'm guessing that there are more of those available. In Estonia here, I know that I'm sure that we have some, but I'm not exactly sure what those are, how good they are, because that's one of the things, like, even when I was thinking about like therapy and all that, I kind of realized that that's something that I should probably do. But at the same time, the thing that kind of frightened me was that, what if I end up talking to someone who is going to make things worse? What if they like say things that make me feel even like worse about myself, or even worse about the thoughts that are in my head and stuff like that? I don't know. I had a lot of distrust or mistrust, whatever the right word is. I ended up not going to a therapist. I might go to a therapist at one point, like maybe in the future, if or I shouldn't say if, I should say when another streak comes on, because most likely this is something that I am going to have to battle with my whole life, because it's just kind of, it, as I said, it comes and it goes. But yeah, I might like take on therapy in the future, but just this time I got better before I actually decided to pull the trigger and go to a therapist. Oh, and I actually wanted to run something by you. Let me know what you guys would think of live videos. I was actually thinking of doing like live videos every now and then, and we could literally just talk about our stuff, talk about our issues. I was hoping that that could be kind of like the platform where some of you, if you don't have a lot of friends, or if you don't have any family around you, if you don't really have anyone that you feel like you could talk to, sometimes talking to strangers is like easier. it's not even that someone has to give you advice, because usually the advice part should come from specialists or like actually trained individuals like therapists, at least that's my opinion. But just to have someone to like to talk to, you know, to get stuff off your chest, it might help people. Maybe we could do these like chats or these like discussion groups or discussion sessions here on YouTube, but in like these live videos where we could just talk about everything and anything. They wouldn't have to be too long, and like afterwards I would of course like delete them so that, you know, other people couldn't just barge in and watch them. Like I still want to kind of keep them in a somewhat more private setting or in a somewhat more exclusive setting. I don't know. I don't know. I've never made a live video. As I said, I feel like kind of out of my element in these things. So I'm not sure how that would go, but it was just a thought. Okay, I feel like I need to attach this differently because it's weird. I think I'm just gonna do the lips and then we'll be done. Finally, after like, I don't know how long this has been, but if you're still here, oh my goodness, you are a complete star, let me tell you. So if you are still here, then you are a true homie. And leave a star in the comment section, because yeah, then I know and other people know that you are a true star. But yeah, anyway, what I wanted to touch upon regarding this channel, I'm not really sure how many like makeup videos I will be doing in the future, how often I would be uploading, because like I still like doing makeup, but I do it so rarely, especially now that I don't really have any practical use for it, because there's nowhere for me to go with like a full face of makeup on. So yeah, I'm not sure how often I would be doing makeup videos. I wouldn't want to like keep anyone here on any like false promises or anything like that. So I absolutely understand this was supposed to be a makeup channel, and now that I'm not really that active on it anymore, I completely understand, and it's absolutely like 100% okay that not everyone might want to stay here. But I still kind of feel like, because I've spent so much time and so much energy and so much effort on like creating this platform and getting it to what it is, even though I haven't been that active on it in like the past months, I still feel like I could do something useful with this platform. And that's why I figured that I would love to do more of these like videos where I talk about things that I feel need to be said, or that should be talked about more. And I don't know what they are exactly. I have no idea what else I would be talking about, but I'm sure that I would get divine inspirations whenever such needs would come up. So I just kind of felt like that's the direction that I want to take this channel. Do I like this? It's so glossy. But anyway, that's what I was thinking with this channel. I might do a makeup video every now and then, like a makeup tutorial or something like that, maybe. But they would be probably very, very rare. But definitely let me know how you feel about all this and how you relate to all of this, if you relate to all of this. I appreciate all of you who have decided to subscribe on this channel, who are watching this video right now, who have decided to kind of stick by me or stay by my side and like follow my journey. I am so grateful to each and every one of you for being here. But as I said, I do realize that not all of you may want to follow me to this new direction that I'm going, which is more so away from makeup and more so towards like spirituality and self-care and self-help and self-development, growth, all of those things. If you're not really interested in any of that and you are more so interested in makeup, then most likely this channel is not going to be satisfying your needs, let's just say it like that. I just wanted to kind of say that and to put the record straight in that regard, so everyone would kind of be aware. If you do want to kind of keep up with me more, or just hang out with me more, then I definitely recommend that you come over to my other channel, the Unbound Soul Tarot, and you can kind of hang out with me there, where I do all of these readings that are meant to kind of guide and support when that is needed, or just kind of explain the everything that is going on and the energies and all of that you may be experiencing, or the situations that you may be experiencing. I do all of that on my other channel. It is the Unbound Soul Tarot. I'm going to leave it on the screen somewhere, and you will also find it in the description box and in the comment section. I will leave it everywhere, so it would be easy to find for you. I guess I should kind of remove this and get my hair down, because I suppose this is the look done. I am now ready to wash this makeup off and go about my life again. I wanted you to see the real me more, and yeah, it was kind of a therapeutic thing for me to open up to you guys, and hopefully it also helps you in some way as well, if you are struggling with the same thing, or if you just feel lonely, if you feel like your life is not what you would like it to be, or if you feel like everyone else is doing so much better than you, then here it is. I still hope that it spoke to you in some way, and that it made you feel less alone, or that my little tips about going into nature, writing down your thoughts, writing down your feelings, just putting pen to paper and letting your emotion out of you, talking to someone and like reading other people's experiences, those were the things that truly helped me. So I hope that those little tips help you as well. But yeah, that's it. That's truly it. So thank you so much, truly. Again, if you are still here, thank you so much for watching this video all the way through. You have no idea how much that means to me. I hope that you are healthy and that you are safe, and I hope that your loved ones are as well. And again, I have no idea what the future is going to bring. I have no idea when I will be feeling inspired to make a new video for this channel, but should the time come, I hope that we will see each other again. Thank you. Stay safe, stay healthy, look after yourselves, and I hope to see you guys next time too. Take care. Bye-bye.